5 factors to consider when determining your wedding venue pricing. And maybe these are things that you need to keep in mind as you are setting pricing for 2023, 2024, and beyond. Point number 1, cost of operations. The cost of operations is extremely important to be able to support your venue and the operational model that you want. What type of packages are you gonna have? Are you primarily selling overnight dates? Do you have lodging on site? Are you selling weekend experiences for families? Are you selling just the individual days? Do you plan on being booked 40 or 50 days a year? Or do you plan on being booked 100 plus days per year? All of those things play really a role in deciding how much you need to charge, and it makes a huge impact on cost of operations. That's where our team has found that you're gonna start really radically increasing labor costs. You're needing to add additional team members to help support the team that you have doing the setup, doing the teardown, and really trying to avoid burnout. The second factor that you're gonna need to consider is demand. Understanding demand, I think, is core to really running a very successful wedding venue. And when you look at your geographic area that you live in, you need to understand what is the demand. Who are the types of clients that you want to be serving, where people are going to be primarily flying or driving in? Or is this something where you're located in a city center or a suburb where there are plenty of people around and the demand is there? If you are building your venue from the ground up, demand is something that is really, really important to understand prior to building your venue, because you want to make sure that you build it for the demand that you see, not just you build it and you hope that they will come. And this is going to change regardless of where you are in the country. People in New York, on the East Coast, in Florida, they're looking for different things from their wedding venues than they are here in Southern California or in Texas or in Montana. It's just the appetites, the interests. So it's really important to understand that and understand where you sit in terms of the demand that you have at your property. If you have high demand, you can charge a little bit more. Lower demand, you might have to be a bit more competitive with your pricing. Point number 3 is the services that you want to offer. So there are a number of different things that you can offer at your wedding venue. You can basically create a whole package for people with DJs and lighting and the whole 9 yards. You could do that, or you could go with some modified version of that. You could do it more of a blank canvas style where it's just the venue, or just the venue with some rentals, tables and chairs, things like that. You can also start adding additional services like the coordination, bar. Even if you weren't going to do a full-scale bar and liquor license, you can do bartenders and offer the services. You can also think about adding in catering, wedding planning services. And if you're going to be adding those in, you're going to want to make sure that your pricing adequately reflects the value that you're providing. Point number 4 is the location. And this kind of goes in with demand, but location is really important because different places in the country have a huge inventory of wedding venues. So the location really matters, and that really goes hand in hand with the demand. But if you are in a location that has a number of different venues, maybe even similar venues to what you have, that is going to be something where you may not be as competitive, and you may need to reduce your pricing to make yourself a little bit more competitive with the other venues that are there. The other piece of this is if you are an extremely remote venue that requires guests to travel in and maybe takes an hour, maybe 2 hours from a major airport, that's definitely going to play into a factor of your venue pricing versus something that is a little bit more central. We actually have a venue that we manage that is a good hour and a half maybe away from a major airport. It's down a long dirt road, and the road is super, super bumpy, and it's definitely challenging getting people to the venue. And so we have to consider that when thinking about our pricing, because for that venue specifically, people need to factor in a shuttle service or some sort of transportation option for their guests, especially late at night when people are drinking and driving home and things like that. So location plays a huge, huge role. We don't have to think about that as much at some of our other properties that are located in more of an urban or suburban area where the freeway is just a couple streets away. And then finally, point number 5 is the quality and the reputation that you have or even hope to have. Let's say that you have a venue, you've been in business for a while, a couple years maybe, you have been servicing couples and you have 5 stars across the board, or you have an extremely high guest satisfaction, people are writing wonderful reviews. You now have the ability to command a bit higher of a price point, because when people come and they look at those reviews and they look at the experiences that other people have, they can pretty much feel sure and secure that you're going to be able to deliver the type of service experience that they're going to be happy with. When you have that type of reputation and when you're able to showcase that kind of quality, people have a natural expectation that they're going to pay a little bit more. And so you can keep that in mind as you're setting pricing for the next couple of years. You can think, okay, we're trying to increase the quality. We want to be seen as a really quality venue, a venue that really focuses a lot on the guest experience. And to do that, we are going to charge a bit more of a premium price. But this is something that the consumer absolutely understands. And this is going to make a difference though, because if you currently have a reputation or a lower level of quality, and maybe not a negative reputation, but just some questionable reviews, or maybe there's some different things that you're trying to revamp and change as a part of your venue, and the reviews really don't give you the proper support for pricing increases, you might want to hold back a little bit on that pricing increase and leave it level until you're able to get some more positive reviews, build up the quality of the services that you provide, and then as you get some more of those positive reviews and you've made some of those changes, then you can have some price increases. And when people ask about the price increases, if they do ask, then you'll be able to point to say, hey, we've just upgraded this, or we've changed this service, or we're now offering that. Whatever the case may be for your specific venue, looking at the quality, looking at the reputation that you have is definitely going to play a huge role in determining how aggressively you can raise pricing, if you should raise it at all. I want to leave you with one final bonus piece and something that we are considering. And frankly, we're gonna have to make a completely separate video about this just because it's such a massive topic. But there are many venues that follow a dynamic pricing model like airlines or like hotels, where more popular dates are going to be higher priced than less popular dates. So for example, if you're going to Las Vegas and you look at, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the cost of your hotel room is gonna be, depending on where you're staying, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks, something really, really inexpensive. But then you look at that same hotel and those same rooms on Friday, Saturday, Sunday are double, maybe even triple the price. So here again, it's kind of calling back to that demand element. When there's greater demand, the price is gonna go up. For a lot of these hotels and airlines and even car sharing apps like Turo or Uber or things like that, they're using this dynamic pricing model because they want to appropriately charge when people are willing to pay more. And so when thinking about this and thinking about your wedding venue, it can be pretty daunting because understanding how to change that is just seems like very tough. And how are you gonna do that if you have a PDF that you're putting all of your pricing on? If you're sending out a PDF to people, that's not necessarily something that you have dynamic control over changing all the time. So what should you do? The short answer is understanding and having a better perspective around the seasonality at your venue, and maybe giving yourself more seasons so you can set more varied and more dynamic pricing based on the years that you have been in business and your understanding of kind of the booking cycle and things like that. But that is a way to kind of give yourself some of that dynamic pricing and really take advantage of the most popular dates without causing, undue complexity in your pricing strategy and, changing it all the time and switching things up for either you or your sales team. So I hope this has been helpful. I'm really excited about continuing to make these videos. Please share it with someone who you think might benefit from it, and subscribe if you're not already. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next video.